Panic buying begins. Cruise ships diverted as Cyclone Jasper barrels closer to Queensland. Karen Williams calls it quits, our one-on-one with the controversial Southeast Mayor. Police cars and businesses rammed by teen criminals in a wild night on Queensland streets. A tree blown apart by lightning in one of the closest calls you'll ever see. From love story to What's Up Doc, the life and legacy of Hollywood actor Ryan O'Neill, dead at 82. Plus, concerning new data on the health of Queensland kids prompts an urgent school holiday warning.
This is 9 News Queensland with Josh Bavas.
Good evening. Supermarket shelves are being stripped bare and school holiday plans have descended into chaos as Cyclone Jasper edges closer to North Queensland. It is expected to weaken tonight before re-intensifying as it crosses the coast. The weather experts painting a clearer picture on the system's warpath.
A sign fear is setting in across the north. Townsville and Cairns supermarket shelves stripped bare.
Can you believe that? People are going crazy in Cairns.
Residents urged not to panic buy but to get prepared. Cyclone Jasper's this evening weakened to a Category 3 system, sitting about 1,100 kilometres off the coastline.
And continue to weaken potentially into a Category 2 system during late Sunday or during Monday.
It's slow moving and tipped to make landfall on Wednesday when it could roar back to life.
There is the potential though it could re-intensify back into a severe tropical cyclone, which is Category 3 or higher, just before it crosses the coast.
The high-risk region remains between Cape Melville and Townsville, but there's more confidence tonight that communities north of Cairns will be hardest hit.
We've got plans to move up to far north region. They've got plans to come down to us, depending on where that cyclone ends up.
Forecast king tides are heightening concerns. They're predicted from Tuesday to Sunday next week and combined with Jasper may pack a punch.
If any cyclone crosses at a high tide, especially a king tide, it means we can get water inundation further inland.
The weather system's throwing school holiday travel plans into disarray with cruise itineraries being revised. Several ships that departed Brisbane earlier this week, bound for the tropics, will now call in Sydney. The Bureau of Meteorology's today evacuated 4 of its own staff from remote Willis Island. The weather station lies in the midst of the danger zone. Avi Guerin, 9 News.
Well, straight to weather expert Luke Bradnam now at the Isle of Capri. Luke, are we seeing any signs of the cyclone in North Queensland yet?
Well, Josh, we're certainly starting to see winds pick up around the North Queensland coast. Cairns today, for example, seeing winds gusting up around 55 k's an hour. Tomorrow, a strong wind warning issued for Townsville right the way through to the Capricornia coast, and we could start to see showers developing from tomorrow afternoon. It's that rain that will increase from Monday, and that is what really concerns me. This is a very slow-moving cyclone. It's only tracking at around 6 kilometres an hour. Most tropical cyclones averaging around 20 to 30 kilometres an hour, so we could be in for prolonged rainfall along the North Queensland coast as this system moves in closer. Josh, I'll have all the very latest with the full forecast coming up a little later.
Thanks, Luke. We'll chat to you then. Well, 5 teenagers have been arrested over a terrifying crime spree across North Queensland overnight. Police cars rammed and businesses destroyed. Tonight, 9 News can exclusively show you the group in action.
A ram raid rampage. These teen thieves barely tall enough to reach the top shelf, leaving a trail of destruction in this Townsville tobacco store last night.
The TGS at North Shore has been hit 4 times in the last 8 months.
Multiple other businesses also broken into by the same group in 4 stolen cars. Police vehicles rammed too.
Not only did the vehicle get rammed once, but the assailants seem to have come back a second time and actually rammed that vehicle. And I would imagine that vehicle is now written off. But this isn't the first time this has happened. 5
teens have been arrested over the spree, but earlier today, another stolen car spotted tearing around Townsville before being torched and dumped by a separate group of teens.
One Nation have a plan, and that is to turn the tide on Queensland's juvenile crime by repurposing a facility on North Keppel, which is currently an education camp.
The proposed boot camp style facility would sleep 60 kids.
These programs are designed to teach kids that there are good mentors that can reshape their lives and certainly offer them a different perspective to crime.
But until the next election, it's all just another idea.
We don't support it. We have alternative plans, and I won't be handing over a tropical island to house young people when we've got a fantastic education and environment institution that works with the elders there.
Yasmin Bennell, 9 News.
She became known as Queensland's drink-driving mayor after crashing her council car last year. Now, Karen Williams is announcing she won't contest the next election, ending a 20-year career at the Redland City Council.
In announcing the end of an almost 20-year career at the Redland City Council, Karen Williams wants to make one thing clear.
I'm not the devil incarnate. I'm a person who is a mother, a grandmother, and I love my community.
She was elected to council in 2004, becoming mayor in 2012.
I think my greatest achievements have been a community that's rallied behind people in need. We've raised over $500,000 for victims of domestic and family violence.
But for Karen, it all came crashing down last year.
My biggest regret, obviously, was when I had my accident, and I will never, ever be able to say I'm not sorry to my community for that.
She was 3 times over the legal limit when she smashed her council car into a fence.
We had big decisions to be made, a budget to be brought down, and I had not really taken care of myself.
Worse still, she'd just finished a Zoom call with families talking about youth justice, including the parents of Matthew Field and Kate Ledbetter, who along with their unborn child was struck by a vehicle driven by a teenager who was under the influence.
Leading up to that, I was already struggling because I really felt the pain for Russell and Anne, losing their children. I just become a grandmother. So, you know, it was a bit dark before that. It was darker after.
Is it lucky that you weren't killed or no one else was killed in that accident?
I absolutely thank God every day that that wasn't the outcome, unlike the young man that killed 3 people that were special to our cities.
It led to immediate calls for her resignation.
Do you regret not resigning earlier? Are you happy with your decision to go all the way to the next election?
I have made a commitment to my community over the last 20 years, and I've always intended to see it to the end. I regret making that one mistake in those 20 years.
So why did she come to this decision now?
Well, you know, I love my community a great deal, but I love my family even more, and the discovery of being a grandmother for the 3rd time made me feel that I needed to start to invest my time back in what really matters in my life, and that's my family.
Well, Meg Sides joins us in studio now. Meg, where to for the mayor from here?
Good evening, Josh. Well, Mayor Karen Williams will remain on until the next election. The local government elections in Queensland are set to be held in March 2024. She says at this stage she won't endorse a candidate not being drawn today by our questions on her potential successor. Josh.
Meg, thank you. A 20-year-old man who was attacked by a shark just south of Gladstone has been airlifted to a Brisbane hospital. Let's go live to Gracie Richter. Gracie, how's he doing tonight?
Josh, tonight he is in a stable condition after almost losing his ankle after he was attacked by a shark while swimming near the headland at 1770 just before 5 o'clock yesterday. He was flown overnight from Bundaberg to here at the Royal Brisbane and Women's Hospital where he underwent surgery. He was swimming, and that's when it was that bystanders pulled him out of the water before paramedics arrived with ambulances and of course a helicopter coming. Here's what one of those paramedics had to say.
Initially there was some discussion that it could have been a dolphin attack, which is highly unusual, but once we arrived and saw the injury, it was quite obvious it was quite a serious injury, probably one of the most serious marine bite injuries I've seen.
It's unknown what type of shark it was, but he is the 2nd person to be bitten by a shark in just over a week in Queensland.
Gracie, thanks for the update. Labor is preparing to announce its highly anticipated migration strategy aimed at reducing arrivals to ease pressure on housing, infrastructure and the cost of living. The government's plan expected to focus on international students, targeting those rorting the system.
A Saturday smile after a long week in Parliament.
Good morning.
Prime Minister gearing up for good news in the week ahead.
The new migration strategy we'll announce this week will bring migration back to sustainable levels.
Down from a predicted peak of more than 500,000 people in the last 12 months, the highest in history, putting pressure on infrastructure, housing and the cost of living.
The horse has already bolted. Not only can he not catch it, he can't even find it.
Pre-pandemic, net overseas migration boosted the population by almost 240,000 people. Mid-pandemic, those numbers slowed, then reversed due to border closures. Post-pandemic, a catch-up, but one that's far exceeded expectations.
The numbers are unprecedented. We've never had net migration at these sorts of levels.
The majority here to learn.
60% of the net migration is students.
But not all are genuine.
In some cases, the system is being abused.
Labor's strategy set to include a further crackdown on dodgy education providers, enhanced English-speaking requirements for foreign students, and the scrapping of student visas for some low-end, short courses outside the university sector.
We want to make sure that our population is sustainable.
And while the Prime Minister stopped short of giving sustainable and exact number, his government's intergenerational report assumed a figure of 235,000 people per year, and 9 News understands this new strategy will aim for the same.
Whenever net migration gets to about 300,000, problems start to occur. Fundamentally, no one's ready for 300,000 and can't cope.
When you've got a rental crisis, you've got a housing crisis, people can't see the GP. It's a mess of the government's own making.
Reece D'Alessandro, 9 News.
Christmas has come early for the Premier and the state's politicians this year. Anastasia Palaszczuk's salary set to receive a $34,000 boost by July 2024 to equate to a total of $462,000 a year should she remain Premier next year. The increase set by the Queensland Independent Remuneration Tribunal is part of an 11% hike for the state's politicians over 3 years between July this year to 2025. The US has vetoed a ceasefire plea at the United Nations, insisting it would not make a difference on the ground in Gaza. But there is some hope the fighting could ease in the new year.
Inside Gaza, gunfire from Israeli soldiers is relentless. This is a school. Israel's military says it has tunnels used by Hamas, while more airstrikes flattened more buildings. And in Khan Yunis, southern Gaza, the new front. A paramedic holds a lifeless baby. It's claimed here 15 members of one family died. And the humanitarian crisis is growing.
About half of the population in Gaza are starving.
The Palestinian Authority claims more than 17,000 Palestinians have died, including 7,000 children and 43,000 people injured. Almost 2 million are now displaced. Lighting candles for Hanukkah. Israel's defence minister said Israel has light, Gaza darkness.
There is a high risk of the total collapse of the humanitarian support system in Gaza, which would have devastating consequences.
At the UN, the United Arab Emirates pushed for a ceasefire. It was backed by 13 of 15 Security Council members. The US vetoed, arguing the draft motion failed to criticise Hamas for the October 7 attack and would have had little impact on the ground.
We do not support calls for an immediate ceasefire. This would only plant the seeds for the next war, because Hamas has no desire to see a durable peace.
That peace, the US insists, involves a two-state solution.
The true path to ensure peace is only through supporting Israel's mission.
This war is part of the assault to end the Palestinian people.
In Washington, D.C., the man who's pushed the diplomatic mission through the Middle East met Arab leaders. There are now reports Israel's so-called high-intensity phase of this war could end in another 6 to 8 weeks. The US says it is also concerned about the humanitarian situation in Gaza and wants more aid in. So today sent more supplies to Egypt. Beyond that border in Gaza, the fear now is from not just the horrors of war, but also famine and disease that could mean more lives lost. In the United States, Jonathan Kersley, 9 News.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has set his sights on a fifth term in office. The 71-year-old told soldiers he plans to run again in next year's election, saying now is the right time to make a decision. Putin is already the longest-serving Russian ruler since Joseph Stalin. US President Joe Biden has dodged questions over the raft of new charges faced by his son Hunter. He's been hit with 9 in total, including failing to file and pay at least $1.4 million in taxes.
Mr. President, any comment on the new charges against your son, Mr. President?
Hunter Biden is facing a maximum of 17 years jail if convicted. Seconds from disaster, the incredible close call you have to see to believe. Plus, the staggering outstanding bill for COVID quarantine. The young royals send Christmas well wishes. And at the end of sport, the life and loves of Ryan O'Neill. Tributes for the Hollywood star dead at 82. The pandemic continues to burn a hole in the state's pocket, with nearly $40 million of unpaid hotel quarantine bills still owed to Queensland Health. Around 14,700 invoices remain outstanding, with more than 3,000 referred to an external debt collector due to the extent of the overdue payments. A New South Wales man forgot his wallet, but it might have saved his life. Tonight, 9 News can show you the moment he dodged death when lightning struck a tree next to his car.
With a storm hovering above Mudgee, Simon Somervale is in a rush. As he loads his car, he realises he's forgotten his wallet. Good thing too. Watch again as a lightning strike pulverises a nearby tree. The gum explodes, sending branches crashing down onto his car.
I heard this crack and like an explosion, like nothing I'd heard or felt before.
He returns in disbelief, realising he's just dodged a disaster.
I don't know if I would have got more injured having been in the car or standing next to the car hopping in, but either way it wouldn't have been pretty.
His car, a Hyundai Getz, is injured. In fact, it's a write-off. The pictures highlight how close he came to danger. Simon is just happy he forgot his wallet.
Sometimes it's okay to forget things.
Alex Sankey, 9 News.
Unbelievable. Well, thousands of people lined Dublin streets to farewell Pogues frontman Shane MacGowan. The singer, best known for his song Fairy Tale of New York, died last week, aged 65. Celebrities, including Nick Cave, paid tribute, with Johnny Depp, who was best man at MacGowan's wedding, acting as pallbearer. It was all smiles for the Prince and Princess of Wales arriving for carols at Westminster Abbey with their children last night. George, Charlotte and Louis dropping off Christmas cards, which will be sent to struggling children this festive season. School holiday warning tonight, the urgent advice for every parent, what you should be doing this summer to keep your kids healthy. The expert tips, that's ahead. Soaring southeast suburbs tonight, the top growth opportunities where you can save. Your look inside the billion-dollar rebuild of Notre Dame. And the drug now thousands of dollars cheaper for Aussie kids. The southeast suburbs set to boom have been revealed, Ipswich taking out the top spot as an affordable alternative to the soaring metro areas.
Getting bang for your buck. I just feel like that Ipswich has a lot to offer. Half an hour west of Brisbane, buyers are tossing up an affordable alternative.
While it's so expensive everywhere, you do what you can still kind of get out in Ipswich is definitely a lot better than in a city.
Unfortunately, we just can't live in Brisbane anymore just because of the interest rates that's been happening. Riverview is Queensland's top suburb for price growth, seeing the biggest jump over the last 12 months. Home prices up 24%, with a median price of $646,000. Leichhardt, Browns Plains, Silkstone and Regency Downs also up 20%. On the Gold Coast, Main Beach and Surfers Paradise also making the list.
The majority of these outperforming suburbs tend to be in creating more affordable areas where first home buyers, for example, are flocking.
The median home price in some Ipswich suburbs is $300,000 less than in Brisbane, which is currently seeing its highest prices on record. Despite the up to $100,000 increase in the median price for Ipswich suburbs, the demand for property remains strong in the area, with perceptions changing.
People are walking in with an open mind, not realising but also seeing the potential beyond those reputations.
We're seeing more younger people move into a lot of these areas. So I think overall it's going to help the vibrancy of a lot of these suburbs.
And as interest rate rises decrease borrowing capacity by 30% for first home buyers, value for money is top of mind.
They're looking for those houses that are easy to move into, even if it does need a little bit of work.
Gracie Richter, 9 News.
When one of the world's most recognisable landmarks went up in flames in 2019, it was feared 850 years of history could be lost. But today, good news, French President Emmanuel Macron confirming Notre Dame is on track to reopen on schedule.
The French president had reason to feel on top of the world, getting a view from Paris that a few years ago many feared had been lost forever, from the just-installed new spire on top of the Notre Dame Cathedral, the crowning achievement in restoration work so far. When fire ravaged the 860-year-old landmark in 2019, the spire symbolised a loss that was felt around the world. While electrical fault is considered the likely culprit for the blaze, no definitive cause has been established and may never be. The embers were still smouldering when Macron vowed the cathedral would be rebuilt within 5 years, a timeline many were sceptical about. Now he says all is on track to have the public reopening a year from this weekend. It's a great image, he says, of hope, of a France that can rebuild. During his visit, the French leader helped inscribe the name of the general who oversaw the reconstruction and passed away in August. And he announced a contest to replace 6 stained glass windows in the nave with more contemporary ones. The painstaking reconstruction work has to date cost over $1 billion. The speed and dedication to returning the icon to the heights of her former glory, inspiring. Brett McLeod, 9 News.
The first oral medicine of its kind will become available this month for children suffering juvenile arthritis. Tofacitinib is now available via the Pharmaceutical Benefits Scheme and is showing promising results managing the painful and incurable condition, which affects up to 10,000 Australian kids.
It seems to be very good at switching off the inflammatory process and keeping it switched off.
The listing reducing the price from nearly $16,000 a year to a maximum of just $30 a script. Getting back on their feet, the Australian first medical breakthrough thanks to generous Queenslanders. The famous faces encouraging Queenslanders to wiggle their way to kindy. The health advice for every parent these school holidays. And the cowboy crook committing a crime against wine. To this week's auction results now, and 25 properties were sold in Brisbane according to Domain, which is part owned by 9. That's a clearance rate of 39%. This penthouse at New Farm was the most expensive property sold, boasting 2 stories and stunning river views. It fetched close to $6 million. The most affordable was this unit in Brisbane City, selling for just over $170,000. A Brisbane hospital is the first public hospital in the country to offer new groundbreaking equipment to get amputees back on their feet. And it's all thanks to the generosity of Queenslanders.
Wes Radish is living the dream. As a Noosa ferry skipper, he soaks up these views every working day. But it's been a challenge getting here. On the way to his interview for the job, he was involved in a serious motorbike accident.
38 days and 7 operations later, here I am with this.
Wes tried a couple of prosthetic legs but found them painful. Then he came to the Royal Brisbane and Women's Hospital, the only public hospital in Australia now using water pressure casting.
It's fantastic to be able to give patients that opportunity and see them back up on 2 legs and, engaging with their families again.
To make a prosthetic leg, a plaster cast of a patient's residual limb is made as a crucial first step to getting a good fit. Traditionally, clinicians use their hands to mould it, but the end result can be hit and miss.
So the main thing is it's uncomfortable and the patient doesn't want to wear it, but it can also cause skin breakdown, so they can have wounds on their leg if the pressure is not being distributed properly.
This groundbreaking cast tank is more accurate, using water pressure to distribute a more even force to get the fit just right.
I put it on and I could walk straight away, and it was the eureka moment. It was unbelievable, and I had faith again that I could do something, get my life back.
The expensive casting equipment has been made possible thanks to the RBWH Foundation's Gift of Time appeal. Queenslanders are being urged to donate again this Christmas.
The Foundation and the community come together to fund really great and important research projects that make a difference that would not happen otherwise.
Wes couldn't be more grateful, able to reschedule the ferry interview he missed, landing the job.
It means everything to be able to be up and get mobile and go get on with life the way you were.
Olivana Lathouris, 9 News.
Big red cars, hot potatoes and free kindy. The Wiggles have joined the campaign for Queensland's new initiative, encouraging more than 33,000 families at concerts across the state to take part during their Wiggly Big Day Out tour.
The Wiggles have always been about families and about children. Children are the most important people in the world for us.
Kindy kiosks with information and photo opportunities have been set up at the shows as part of the Wiggles partnership with the state government. Police in the US are looking for a wine thief who robbed a family-run business while dressed as a cowboy. He was seen on CCTV entering with an employee code before destroying 21,000 bottles worth of wine. Most of it was bottled for Christmas, leaving the owners more than $500,000 out of pocket. Nick Kyrgios out of the Australian Open after a shock announcement on OnlyFans. The Broncos player being sent to Las Vegas to meet a Super Bowl champion. And at the end of sport, Hollywood mourns star Ryan O'Neal. We look back at his life.
And a beautiful night here at Isla Capri. Clear skies right the way across the southeast. But how's it shaping up for our Sunday and the first week of the school holidays? We'll have all the details of full weather and beach and surf report for you coming up soon.
The Broncos are joining forces with one of the NFL's most successful players ahead of their venture to Vegas. 4-time Super Bowl winner Rob Gronkowski offering to meet with Brisbane's representative at next week's NRL launch in the United States.
One last training session at Red Hill before leaving for Las Vegas. Billy Walters flies out tonight to be the Broncos representative during the NRL's week-long promotional tour of the US.
Yeah, super excited. It's a great experience for me and the whole of NRL to, get over there and try and put our foot in the door for rugby league in America. The lucky one, I guess, to go over there and miss a few training sessions and go explore America. So I'm pretty pumped.
Already kitted out in LA Rams attire, the NFL club where the Broncos will be based. Walters' itinerary also includes a meeting with 4-time Super Bowl champion Ron Gronkowski.
So he's probably one of 4 NFL players that I know in the whole history of NFL. So it'd be pretty cool. I think we're going to an NFL game, and then we've got an NHL game as well and an NBA game. So pretty keen to get over there and experience all that, and just can't wait.
Securing a win in their Vegas season opener against the Roosters could be crucial for Brisbane, with the match to be followed by clashes with the Rabbitohs, Panthers and Cowboys.
We got off to a really good start last year and it put us in a great position come the end of the year where we got to rest a lot of our players and be ready for those really tough physical finals games towards the end. And, it helped us on our way to the grand final and, hopefully if we get off to a great start again, we can put ourselves in the same position.
Walters heads into the new season as an established starter for the first time in his career after making the number 9 jersey his own.
Very blessed with, I've only had missed the game, 1 game through injury and 1 game through being rested. So just had a lot more time on the field to, get better at dummy half and work on my combinations with, the likes of the forwards and the backs, and trying to pick the right times of when it's my time to run or when it's my time to just give it to early ball to Walshy or Reno or Payne or Paddy or anyone for that matter.
Adam Jackson, 9 News.
Nick Kyrgios says he has no choice but to make the heartbreaking decision to withdraw from the Australian Open due to a wrist injury, and as only Nick could do, using OnlyFans to broadcast the announcement.
He always does it his way. Still, only Nick could use OnlyFans for an announcement like this.
This is a very disappointing time for me, but yeah, I won't be able to compete at the 2024 Australian Open.
A long-running struggle with injury consigning Kyrgios to the stands for a second straight Aussie summer.
Had that knee surgery and came back a little bit too soon and set me back a little bit, then obviously had some wrist issues, heartbreaking. You know, I've had so many amazing memories there.
He managed just one official match for the entire year. Still, the showstopper is determined to come back with a bang.
I just want to really get back to playing at the top of my game and doing it right, and I need a little bit more time. You know, I was so close to winning a Grand Slam. I want to make sure that my body's going to have the time it needs to come back.
But at 28 years old and with no timeline for his return, questions will be asked whether he'll ever reach the same heights. The absence of one of the AO's headline acts leaves a huge hole, particularly on the Aussie front. Organisers will now hope Alex de Minaur and Isla Tomljanovic can fly the flag deep into the tournament. So while he won't be able to hit the court at Melbourne Park, he's set to make as much noise as ever.
I still will be around commentating matches, being around. I've got some special things planned.
Braden Ingram, 9 News.
The accolades keep on coming for the Lions AFLW Premiership winning Ali Anderson, the midfielder named Brisbane's best and fairest at the club's awards ceremony. It's the third time Anderson has won the Player of the Year award. She finished the count 10 votes ahead of fellow midfielder Isabel Dawes, capping off an unforgettable week, which began with the Lions winning the AFLW Grand Final. Mitchell Starc believes 2023 could be his best ever season of international cricket. The paceman will lead Australia's attack in next week's first test against Pakistan, something he appreciates more than ever approaching the back end of his career.
Fan day for the Sydney Sixers, the clear favourite. Mitchell Starc is unsure if he'll even get to play in the Big Bash.
Yeah, nice to be back in the Magenta, bit of a membership ambassador role there and a little bit of a bowling mentor role for some of the younger guys as well, so at training a little bit the last couple of weeks.
It isn't a sign Starc's career is starting to slow down, but at 33...
It's not lost on us that we're all towards the more experienced side.
That awareness has allowed him to appreciate what he's achieved this year. 2023 could be his most enjoyable ever.
Yeah, it's certainly right up there. 2015 was special in its own right. It's a home World Cup. That was very special. See, cricket wins in India are hard to come by at the best of times, so to win a World Cup in India, that's not lost on the group how special that was. Probably written off by a lot of people, and to come home with the trophy was very special for the group.
And special for the three best mates who form our fast bowling attack, the trio cherishing every moment.
We've sort of grown up together in cricket, and it's not lost on us how special that is to be able to play a lot of cricket for Australia together. We spend a lot of time off the field together. It's fantastic to have that I guess that bond, and then to sort of showcase that in our cricket as well, how close we are and how much we respect one another as well.
The Sixers didn't need Starc last night. They had Steve Smith.
Oh, nice. Really nice.
He's 61, earning man of the match in the 8-run win over the Renegades. Sam Jordan, 9 News.
She's stood in the role for the past 12 months, and Alyssa Healy is now officially Australia's new women's cricket captain, and she will be for some time to come, saying the appointment has extended her playing career.
I always play games about how long I'm going to play for, but in my own mind it sort of gave me an opportunity that, yep, this is what I want to achieve and this is where I'd like to take the group for a certain amount of time, and I think we can achieve great things in that time, but more so set it up for the next 10 years to be really successful.
Healy faces a tough first-up assignment. The side flies to India next week for a multi-format series. Australian world champion Scotty James has kicked off the half-pipe season in style, winning gold at the Snowboard World Cup in Beijing. The 29-year-old set the standard early with a spectacular first run, blitzing the field at last year's Olympic half-pipe venue. The Brisbane Summer Racing Carnival is heating up with a place in the $3 million Stradbroke on offer for the winner of the Gateway in today's qualifier at Eagle Farm.
Dream Hour of danger, big danger. Dream Hour swept up, dashed away, won the Gateway, beat Midnight in Tokyo.
20-1 Outsider Dream Hour rewarding patient punters with just its second win in 12 starts. But Josh, back to that news about Nick Kyrgios. He says he'll be communicating with his fans pretty much directly through OnlyFans from now on.
One way to make a statement, Bronte. Thanks very much. Well, Hollywood heartthrob Ryan O'Neill is being remembered as a legend of the silver screen after his death at the age of 82. The Oscar nominee was best known for his breakout roles in the 1970s, while his personal life often stole the headlines.
Ryan O'Neill, a leading man and 70s icon.
What is it? Don't ask.
A fast-paced career and racy private life, Ryan O'Neill well known for his relationship with blonde bombshell Farrah Fawcett and at times estrangement from his children. The former Hollywood actor passed away on Friday. He was 82. His son Patrick sharing the sad news on social media. My father Ryan O'Neill has always been my hero. I looked up to him and he was always bigger than life. He is a Hollywood legend. Full stop. Originally, O'Neill trained to be a professional boxer. His big break coming in 1964 as Rodney Harrington in the television drama Peyton Place.
Come on, up it.
Best known for his Oscar-nominated performance in the romantic drama Love Story.
Jenny, I'm sorry.
Don't. Love means never having to say you're sorry.
From there, the roles kept coming. What's Up Doc opposite Barbara Streisand.
What's up, Doc?
Did you happen to know that I love you?
Yeah.
You did? Do?
Listen, kiddo, you can't fight a tidal wave.
The 1973 hit Paper Moon, alongside his daughter Tatum O'Neill.
Just have to keep on bearing, that's all.
Stanley Kubrick's Barry Lyndon.
The horses made a clip-clop sound, and it hurt the dialogue in the carriage. So he had the crew pull the carriages along the highway.
Off-screen, an encounter with American actress Farrah Fawcett.
And there she was in the driveway. My God, she was breathtaking. Really? Who's that? He said, that's my wife.
O'Neill and Fawcett went on to have a long-term on-off relationship, who he dearly called his forever Valentine. He hit the headlines for his at times tumultuous relationship with his children.
Where were you, Dad? Where were you at that party? You were at the beach
In those days, I used to just put my head in the sand.
Diagnosed with leukemia in 2001 and prostate cancer 11 years later. O'Neill passed away surrounded by family and friends. Vicky Jardim, 9 News.
In just 3 minutes, the urgent advice for every Queensland parent. The experts reveal what you should be doing to keep your kids healthy these school holidays. That's moments away. But first, Luke Bradnam is back with a check of the weather. Luke, are we in for another warm one tomorrow?
Oh, we are, Josh. Yeah, right the way down the Queensland coast. Temps slightly above average, but absolutely scorching tomorrow in the west. I'll have all the details of the full weather and beach and surf report coming up next.
New research has revealed the extent to which children become unhealthier during the holidays. Parents are being encouraged to help their kids mimic the structure and healthy eating of term time once school is out.
The summer holidays are getting underway, and siblings Reese and Tessa can't wait.
The holidays are my favourite.
Freedom from the classroom, but also from all the rules. A new study by UniSA finding just how unhealthy the holidays can be.
We tracked 380 children across 2 years, and we basically found that children gain weight quite rapidly and lose fitness rapidly in the school holidays.
It doesn't surprise me that kids are putting on weight in the holidays. Everyone's going from a really structured routine to zero routine.
Mum Elsa knows how tricky these holidays in particular can be to balance.
As a busy mum, we've got so many things to do in the holidays. There's Christmas to get ready for, so it is hard to monitor what the kids are doing all the time.
Increased screen time, skipping breakfast and snacking, and reduced physical activity, the main contributing factors. The problem has been increasing over recent years. 1 in 4 Australian children now obese or overweight.
One of the most effective things that parents can do is be a great role model for their children. You know, look for opportunities to get out and go for a walk together, go for a bike ride together.
It's hard to get motivated sometimes, but I think that setting the initiative is really the only way to do it.
Even eating healthy meals in front of your children can influence their habits, as well as encouraging fun physical activities around the home.
Finding the balance in keeping them active and the downtime is about making it really fun. So having a break, doing something completely different from what they do at school all year.
April Cretan, 9 News.
Time now for a full look at the weather forecast with Luke Bradnam. Luke, what's the latest on Tropical Cyclone Jasper?
Well, Josh, we have seen the cyclone weaken today. It's currently a Category 3 system. Now, still tracking towards the Queensland coast, most likely on Wednesday, anywhere from Lucinda to Cape Melville is that impact zone. But I'll show you exactly where it is with the charts in just a moment. First up, let's have a look at the temps today from around the southeast. It was a couple of degrees cooler for us today than what we saw yesterday. Down around the Gold Coast, getting up to 30 degrees. 29.6 the top for Brisbane today. Just a tick over 30 for the west in Ipswich today, and 30 degrees the top for the Sunshine Coast. Tomorrow's weather map, you can see Tropical Cyclone Jasper still tracking southwest, is picking up speed, currently moving around 11 kilometres an hour. Will shift further west tomorrow. As it does, it will weaken. We're expecting it to weaken to a Category 2 system by late tomorrow and into Monday. And as I said, most likely cross the coast on Wednesday. Elsewhere, we'll see a trough deepen, push hot air and the odd storm over parts of New South Wales, and particularly into the west of our state. So around the grounds tomorrow, a shower or two on the way for Sydney and Melbourne, partly cloudy for Canberra, more showers on the way for Adelaide, sunny for Perth, and hot and sunny in the top end for Darwin. Could possibly just see a late afternoon storm though. Back home, partly cloudy for Cairns, but we'll start to see winds increasing for Townsville and Mackay. Could see a shower or two around Mackay as well. And then fine and hot through the interior. The Isa tomorrow getting up to 40 degrees. Longreach tomorrow 39, and then partly cloudy with stronger east-southeasterly winds in the morning for both Rocky and Gladstone. Partly cloudy day through the Fraser Coast tomorrow. Here in the southeast, partly cloudy day as well. Very similar to what we had today. Light winds picking up in the afternoon from the east-northeast. We're going to see those temps above average again. The sunny coast getting up to 29. Ipswich tomorrow 31. Here on the Gold Coast, top tomorrow of 29 degrees. Out on the bay tomorrow, nice morning, winds picking up in the afternoon from the east, getting up to about 20 knots and seas around 1 metre. For the city, a partly cloudy day, heading for a top of 30 and dropping down tonight to 22. And then looking ahead, partly cloudy for Sunday right the way through till Wednesday. For Ipswich, no showers on the way for Monday through to Friday, those temps remaining in the low to mid-30s. Here on the Gold Coast, partly cloudy with temps in the high 20s, early 30s for the week ahead. A possible shower for a Friday and Saturday next week. And for the Sunshine Coast, partly cloudy and 29 degrees for Sunday right the way through until Wednesday. Let's have a look at the beaches for tomorrow. Well, not too much to get excited about swell-wise today, only very tiny, particularly on the open beaches. This is the best we could find for you down at Burleigh. You can see not exactly pumping, but we will get a slight increase tomorrow. We should see on those southern wave magnets, sets up around that 1 metre mark and half that on the open beaches, both up on the sunny coast and down on the Gold Coast. Your plan of attack will be to get out there super early before those northeasterly winds kick in. Don't expect too much, but I tell you what, the water temp is beautiful at the moment. 24, 25 degrees. Forget the wetty, you don't need it, but make sure you slip, slop, slap. UV index is through the roof. For a family day down the beach, mornings will be the best. Any of the open beaches, in fact any beach around southeast Queensland will just be showing off. And offshore for the boaties, if you sneak out super early, you'll be thanking yourself because there's plenty of action. Have a go at this for a nice haul this morning out of Rainbow Beach on board Keely Rose Charters. Great stuff. And guys, I can tell you the dollies, big dollies, were on today off all the government fads, particularly off Brisbane. Tomorrow, Josh, let's hope that we see that cyclone weaken further to that Category 2 system, and it will certainly be making impact around Wednesday next week.
Thanks, Luke. You're the man in the know. Well, that's 9 News Queensland for this Saturday. Stay on 9. The Lord Mayor's Christmas Carols with Melissa Downs is up next. Thanks for your company. I'm Josh Bavas from all the team here. Good night.